Hi, we're on page number 8 entitled Terminology. What I want to discuss here is some of the basic mechanics of leasing and how it's different than financing. You notice on the top of page number 8, the first term is obviously the lessee or the lessor. That's very straightforward. You can read that on your own. Then we've got something called cap cost reduction, net cap cost, these sorts of things. Just want to illustrate a quick difference here between financing and leasing. On a finance agreement, the person buys the vehicle and this will be eventually when they pay off the car. They take out a loan, and the loan includes obviously the price of the vehicle. Then it will include the taxes on that transaction, and then it includes the interest on the transaction. Then at that point, they start paying it down. And on that finance agreement, if they are looking at financing, they will pay down from that figure. Their obligation is to pay from here all the way down to zero until the vehicle is actually paid off. If it's a 12-month term or an 84-month term, it doesn't really matter. On a lease, what we have is, we've got another option here for customer. We have obviously the price of the vehicle, and the price is the same. So that's approximately the same amount there. So it doesn't matter if they finance it or lease the vehicle, the price of the car is the same. Then we have an interest factor on top of that, which is calculated. Now with a lease, the customer then starts making monthly payments. And as they make their monthly payment every month, depending on what the term is, that monthly payment at that time is then taxed. Because it's really a usage agreement and they really, it's in somebody else's name technically, that usage agreement states that, you're paying taxes as you go. So one of the benefits with leasing is paying the taxes as you go. They maybe perhaps can defer the tax on the end amount, the residual, if they don't purchase it. So what happens is the payment on the lease, unlike the finance where the payment is from this particular point here all the way down to zero, and they just basically divide that out by whatever the term is. On a lease, the payment is based on this amount here, plus the incremental taxes as they make their payment. And let's say they feel the vehicle should be worth something around here, which is called a residual. If they believe the vehicle should be worth something around that dollar amount in the next few years, the lease payment is only based on the difference between here and here. That's what the payment is based on, plus the interest for the entire balance. I should clarify. The mechanics, the interest is calculated over the entire balance because that loan really is out to the leasing company or the customer for the whole dollar amount. So it is interest based on the whole dollar amount, but the taxes they pay through the term is basically incremental taxes paid off only between here and here, and the taxes perhaps can be completely avoided, not just deferred, but avoided if the customer decides not to pay this portion at the end if they decide to return the vehicle or do something else with it. All right, so we're going to continue on this terminology here in a few moments. I'd like you to jot this down on the back of page number 8 for yourself. Clarify your notes so you understand the mechanics of how the payments are calculated differently. If it was a 48-month lease, this would be divided by 48 months. How the payments are calculated differently between a lease and a finance. How the interest is similarly calculated, but also how the taxes are deferred and are different and perhaps not even paid on the residual. Go ahead and make a note in the back of the page because you may have to reference this or use this with a consumer that wants to know a little bit more about the mechanics of how leasing and financing differ. I'll see you shortly.